Welcome to Inside Texas Football, powered by Inside Texas. I'm Joe Cook, joined by Justin Wells. Justin, we got some great news to talk about. Texas has picked up a commitment, another portal commitment, this one from right down the road. UTSA's Trey Moore, kind of outside linebacker, edge fit, decided to pick the Longhorns today. And that helps Texas keep what's been a pretty fun stretch of time. It's keeping it fun. What do you think about this addition, and how does it help out the 2024 Longhorns?
When you add really good players in the portal of a team that you're covering, indeed, it's fun. It can be a blast. This is the guy that I think surprised a lot of people in a way, just because of how highly productive he was at UTSA. But you got to give this kid some credit, okay? In 2 years, he has 104 tackles. He has 35 and a half tackles for loss. He has 22 sacks. It's insane, his production. This is an absolute fit pretty much anywhere on any defense. But being close to home, I think, is big. He's a Spring Branch, Smithson Valley kid. And so being close to home is a big deal for this guy. You know, guys that get to the quarterback are at a premium, Joe. And Trey Moore gets to the quarterback. I actually spoke to a couple of the UTSA coaches recently, and they said that Trey is actually a better person than he is a football player, and he's a hell of a football player. And so this is a guy, I don't know if it was necessarily a pressing need, but this is what I would categorize as best player available, best player in the portal at this time. And a kid that went from no stars in high school to 4 stars in the transfer portal rankings, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think so too. This is one of the cases of a portal success story. If you go to his On3 profile, only one service had him ranked, and he was a 2-star. So this is someone who, I don't want to say fell through the cracks because he still made it to Division I football, but this is someone who is taking the opportunity that the portal provides and is finding I guess you could say, an upgrade. I think you can definitely say an upgrade for his career. And one thing that stands out about Trey Moore, not just his great sacks, just having a ton of tackles for loss, 17 and a half this past year, 14 sacks. He was the American Conference Defensive Player of the Year. I'll say, you know what? There's 2 things. One, the American's a step up from Conference USA, and he still was able to produce. That's a big sign to me that he was not only able to have a high level of play during his redshirt freshman season, but keep it going during his sophomore season against better competition. The other is who was involved. You know, just think about some of the people who were after Trey Moore. You hear all the big names pretty early, but Ohio State seemed to be the main contender for Trey Moore over a certain amount of time, and Texas ended up winning for the guy just down I-35. What else about, just him coming from a program that's used to success over the past couple of years with Jeff Traylor? How do you think that translates well to Texas? And do you think that was part of the portal pitch as well, that, hey, you're having success at this level, why don't you come on and have even more success here in Burnt Orange just up the road?
I think it's a sign of the times, Joe. I think these guys that play at somewhat of a lower level of college, sometimes they want to trade up, how's it, and for him, it's really a sense of playing on a bigger stage. He learned a lot at UTSA. He learned a lot with Jeff Traylor and that bunch, and it was huge. But at the same time, these guys, they all have NFL aspirations, Joe. They all do. And you can make it to the NFL from any level. We have seen that. Division I, D2, junior college, it doesn't matter, man. They will find you if you can play. But if you're at a bigger school with a ton of eyes in a big conference, playing on a big stage, you get noticed a little bit quicker. You get put up on that draft board maybe a little bit sooner. And I think for Trey Moore, this is that. He wants to play on Sundays, just like most of these guys. And I think not just that, but I think he's a fit in this defense, okay? I think this is a guy that can play multiple spots, actually. You said linebacker edge. I think he's versatile. And give Anthony Hill a hat tip on this one. He helped during this recruitment. And I think you can see Anthony Hill's versatility in the spring when Trey gets there, because I think Anthony could potentially move to that Mike backer where Jalen Ford had been playing. That had actually been talked about. And so they're going to be able to move around some guys and even be more versatile with a guy like Trey Moore. And so to me, it just made sense. He wants to get some more exposure. He wants to put himself on that big stage, compete at that big level. A lot of these kids, they want to play in the SEC. just to kind of gauge where they are. They want to gauge how they see. With Texas making that move, we've seen more and more kids telling us, hey, we liked Texas, but now that they're going to the SEC, there's a little more added incentive.
Yeah, you hit a lot on some great topics, and we'll get to a little bit about his fit specifically into the defense, why he's able to maybe help Anthony Hill around. But first, we got to thank our sponsor, Andre the Lawyer, a longtime Inside Texas user. They never take more than our clients. No win, no pay, no upfront costs. His principal office is in Dallas, Texas, and he's been representing injured Longhorns throughout the Lone Star State. Every client gets a personalized text message number so they can contact the team and get direct access to their lawyer all day and all night. Call Andre the Lawyer, 214-444-8808. Car wrecks, 18-wheeler accidents, slips and falls, on-the-job injuries, and wrongful death. All that, Andre the Lawyer has you covered. 214-444-8808. You talked about Anthony Hill and, maybe being able to do some different things. Trey Moore is going to have a good role probably in this defense for the Longhorns. And I think fans can look at what Jett Bush was able to do during this past season. Jett Bush was often miscast at Texas, and it wasn't his own fault. He was told to play jack. He kind of bounced between linebacker and edge, and they finally found the right role for him in that Sam linebacker position. And that's not a position that's on the field all the time. Basically, when opposing offenses are in their base, or when opposing offenses personnel lend Texas to being in base, so 4 defensive backs, 4 linebackers, 3 defensive linemen, that's when you'll see the Sam on the field. Jett Bush, that was a position that was asked to do a lot of dirty work. You get your pass rush opportunities, but you are stuffing pulling linemen at times, trying to funnel plays back inside to the linebackers or to guys like Tavondre Sweat and Byron Murphy. You are sometimes dropping back and having to take on tight ends running some short routes. You have to do a good amount. You're not doing it for a ton of snaps, at least in the Big 12, but you may see more action in that personnel and that alignment in the coming years in the SEC. And Justin, if he's able to kind of bring some of the grittiness and the nastiness that Jett Bush played with over at that Sam position, and maybe even do it at a higher level, that's a pretty valuable add at that spot when you could be using it a lot more in the SEC.
Absolutely. That's a value add because we know he's good in run support. We know he's good in the box. We know he's good in space, which is instrumental to linebacker play these days. But it's getting to the quarterback. It's when he pins his ears on third down and finds that quarterback. And Jett Bush, he was admirable this year. He actually had a few good games. I remember the Baylor game. He had a big play, a big sack, and so he earned that spot. Jett Bush turned down a lot of scholarships to come to Texas as a walk-on and to earn that spot. And Trey Moore is going to be a guy that kind of has a similar path. He had to earn his way onto that UTSA roster. He didn't have any stars. He's had to earn his way onto this Texas roster, And so, but going to the SEC, stopping the run, being able to shed blocks, don't get caught in the wash, those are invaluable traits. It really, to keep yourself going. But man, getting to the quarterback, nothing changes an offensive tempo and schemes and things of that sort, like being able to pin your ears and get to the quarterback. Trey Moore smells them. That's just something he does. 22 sacks in 2 years. That's hard to do in practice, Joe. And I think Trey Moore, that to me, he's going to fill in that Jett Bush role. And like you said, maybe even a little bit better. But I love his suddenness and I love his ability to get into the backfield. 35.5 tackles for losses. That is some 2A high school level numbers, man. That's some NCAA college football created player numbers. And it just shows you Trey Moore is active. It shows you he plays with his head down and he can get to the quarterback. And at the end of the day, that is the biggest factor to me.
Of course, you could offer, like you mentioned, a little bit more versatility, but it's nice knowing that you have a guy and you have multiple guys for these spots as they get into their Texas career. Justin, I think that's good for talking about Trey Moore, another great portal pickup. Any kind of higher level portal thoughts, or is it just, hey, nice win, way to take someone out of the portal from a hometown program, and use the what do you say? The allure of Texas to an in-state kid who's going through a second recruitment. Sound about right?
Yeah, I think with Makuba, that was a need, a pretty big need there. With Matthew Golden, I think that was an even bigger need. I don't think Trey Moore was in the need category. I think that was in the cherry picking category, the best player available category. And if Trey had the opportunity to move up and play for, it's not just Texas. It's not just down the road. His family's close in Smithson Valley. It's the trajectory. Sark and those guys are building something, Joe. We talk to these recruits. You talk to these players. Like, these guys, they love this college football playoff berth. They love how Sark is building the culture in Austin. It's easy to see. And when you have a guy like Anthony Hill, when Trey Moore went out to dinner with the staff a while back, and Anthony Hill joined him and kind of hung out with him a little bit. When you've got a guy, a young guy, a freshman at that's the crazy part. You got a freshman selling you. There's good fortunes happening down the road. If Texas is using a freshman to bring in a portal guy, man, they are picking the right kids. And I think Trey Moore is the essence of that. He is just a great kid and a great pick.
Great pickup for the Longhorns. Great time to join Inside Texas as well to stay informed on everything. Head to InsideTexas.com for the best coverage. No matter what it is, recruiting, football team, anything, we've got it for you. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on podcast, make sure you rate and review on your favorite platform. Justin, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time. Next time there's breaking news. There's been a lot of it. We'll be here for you on Inside Texas Football.
Absolutely.